The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Of June 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with Michaela Ian, and please give a warm welcome to our Friday host, her first day on the job, Sherry Vanderpool.
Hey, Sherry. Welcome with the mug.
Yes. Cheers. Good morning.
Something tell me Liana's throwing something at you right now. I'm just saying. Something tells me Lee is backstage throwing something at you.
It's all love, Liana. It's all love.
Welcome though, Sherry. Honestly, outside of your Somerset colors this time of year, we are happy to have you.
We ain't care for those colors. No. This is a St. George's show, in case you weren't aware.
Well,
true and true.
Well, it is Somerset today, and we're going to sprinkle a little red on that blue.
If you're watching online, share the link. If you're on Facebook, start that watch party. If you're on Twitter, retweet it. If you're watching on channel 82 or listening on the Full 100 radio station, call someone up, let them know we're on. Just get the conversation out there to your network, and don't forget to like and engage with us. A good one to end the week, as we have Dr. Ramon Arscott. He's stopping by to discuss vaccine education. This is an important topic. The Daily Play is the feud, so my friends are guessing number one answers only. But it's also Friday giveaway. So we're going to do a giveaway. Stick around for today's hashtag. I'm going to give you a hint. It has something to do with a couple of our guests this week. But real quickly, before we get to today's topic, because we have a lot to discuss in terms of, cop match going on and whatnot. But did you all hear? See, I go to sleep very early now to wake up, right? So
same.
Find out things the next day. Did you hear about the Lakers of Los Angeles?
No.
They're the basketball team that has LeBron James and
yes.
What happened to the Lakers?
But they got eliminated in the first round of the playoffs last night.
Seriously?
I'm surprised my husband didn't say anything, because he's like a Lakers diehard.
Well, he wouldn't then. He wouldn't.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any Lakers fans this morning, but
no, and he hasn't said a peep. I'm like,
that is amazing. I know who did go through though. That's Atlanta.
Yes. They'll be playing.
Atlanta has a team that people watch.
Michaela. Hey, St. George's, and now you don't know about Atlanta Hawks.
I'm a Massachusetts girl. I am a Celtics fan through and through. Atlanta Hawks. Come on, didn't they come into like 15 years ago or something?
Wow.
Michaela, we are starting off so rough.
Hawks, though, really? I've never heard of an Atlanta Hawks fan.
Wow.
Dominique Wilkins? No, you don't. Dominique Wilkins, like that's like, oh my God. Okay, sorry. But go ahead.
No, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying the shit that's like just going back and forth. But quickly, I think what stands out about last night though is this is the first time that LeBron James has been eliminated from the first round. So I think this will be some big talk. Chaos, I must say that having spent a lot of time in New England, I like absolutely no New England teams. I'm opposite.
Wow. Okay. Celtics, Red Sox. Patriots. I don't watch hockey, but Boston Bruins. Like, I am a New England girl. I rep my New England teams all day. All day. I remember the first time New England Patriots won the Super Bowl. I was 15. Okay. I remember like it was yesterday. And we partied like it was crazy. Yeah.
But the fact that you don't know that there's Atlanta Hawks, like that is.
I mean, I knew it existed, but I don't know anyone who supports that team. Well, because why would you? I don't understand.
Hold on.
You're gonna soon know when they go. They are through. Like you're gonna see them playing some like Michaela.
So hold on.
I'll take your word for it.
So hold on. They beat another team that's like second in their city. The Hawks. They beat the New York Knicks, which I think.
Okay, yeah, the Knicks have been a bit funky for a while.
Yeah, people forgot they existed too, and like outside of like Lee, I'm not quite sure you can find a Knicks fan.
Yeah, it's been funky. It's been funky for a while.
Yeah.
The last game I went to was in Boston, so yeah.
Was that the last game? The last game I went to was either in Boston or Atlanta. Crazy, look at that. Either Atlanta and Cleveland or Boston and Chicago. I can't remember which.
Okay. Yeah, we did.
It was Atlanta, Jamal. It was Atlanta. I know.
We did Boston just before Christmas 2019 for my husband's birthday, and we did a Celtics game, great seats. And then we did Toronto a couple years ago, and that was like a whole vibe, like Toronto Raptors. That was really nice.
So you like the Raptors?
Do I like the Raptors? Yeah. No, I like Toronto, the city. My son loves the Raptors because that was the first game he ever went to, and he's like, Raptors, and I'm like, really?
I know we have some Raptors fans.
I am a Celtics fan. That's it.
So it's going to be interesting when football season starts, because and see how that conversation goes. Because I am a Cowboys and a Falcons fan. So.
Sorry.
I thought you were talking about real football. I was like, we're at the end.
Michaela, let me sip some more coffee, and I'm gonna be on it next Friday. Because,
I mean, it is hot outside, a lot of sun, so the shade is necessary to me. Let's get to local. Real quickly in the audience, we're talking about basketball. I want to know from the audience, who is your NBA team? Just let us know who's your NBA team. Charles H. Jeffers II says, please remind Michaela that the Celtics have been eliminated. I too spent many years in New England, and I don't
know.
Yeah.
You let a mug. I moved to Massachusetts when I was 12, and I started playing basketball when I was 12 in Massachusetts. So of course I supported the Massachusetts teams, like it is what it is. And like growing up, my dad was a massive Washington Redskins fan. Okay. Like one year I remember before Christmas, he went to, I think it's the Rose Bowl. I think that's what they call it.
Yes.
And they must have gave out like Christmas ornaments with Redskins. Let me tell you, my daddy walked around the entire stadium and picked up all the ornaments people left behind. And we had a Redskins Christmas tree. Okay. A Redskins Christmas tree. And so when we moved to Massachusetts, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not. No, Patriots, let's go. Like,
I'm that guy where I'm not afraid to be on an island on my own. So I remember my wife and I she had come to Boston to visit me one time. I was living in there, and this is Deflategate. It was the Indianapolis Colts and the Patriots, and we were in a bar up in Boston. And yeah, I was my normal self, loud and ignorant and going against the Patriots. And she was scared for her life, right? And Boston fans take sports seriously. For those who don't know, the Knicks and Red Sox rivalry, I saw. Not Knicks. I'm Yankees. Sorry. Red Sox and Yankee rivalry. I saw Red Sox fans literally beating up Yankee fans. Like, I'm like, oh my, it's serious up there. So I understood the risk. But that's just who I was at the time. I'm a changed person. But we have to transition. Let's transition to cup match. So look, on the local front, it looks like crowds to be smaller for cup match if it happens. Now, this was reported to the Royal Gazette yesterday, and it said that the scaffolding would have normally long been in place by now at the ground. But Neil Painter, president of the St. George's Cricket Club, admitted yesterday that the additional seating is highly unlikely if cup match goes ahead. Now, here's the question for the audience. With that said, are you confident that cup match will go ahead in a manner that honors the tradition as it has been for these years? What do you two think?
I honestly, like, I'm a cup match girl. I go both days. We have a camp in St. George's. We have a camp in Somerset. So being that, I'm 35, I'm not like a senior citizen. So I have no recollection of cup match before scaffolding. I just mean in terms of like when my nana was young, of course there was no scaffolding. Maybe even when my mother was young, there wasn't scaffolding. I have no recollection of what that's like. Right. So for me, I'm not interested. Like, I don't want to sit in the hot sun on the bleachers or sit on the wall and watch cricket. Like, no.
Well, I have about 10 years on Michaela, so I do remember it without scaffolding. So if you look at the tradition of what it is, scaffolding wasn't a part of that at that time. So I say, if that's something that we can bring back just for a minute in our culture, then let it go ahead.
Yeah, the thing about it is, though, when I think about cup match in a COVID world, even though more people are vaccinated, even though they'll likely use the safe key for this event, so people who aren't vaccinated are required to be testing, I can't see it. I can't see a socially distant crown and anchor tent.
Right.
I can't see a socially distant line to get fish. Like, I can't see how I can hop from, little camp on the bleachers to camp and try fizzle in a COVID world. I just don't see it.
Yeah. What I've even thought last year was stream it and let people have their own gatherings. You know what I mean? And so that people can do that. Everyone can stay in their bubble. Everyone can turn up and it be a COVID friendly, and just make it a friendly game, because like, who's been practicing for this whole season? Nobody.
Yeah.
So Somerset would just retain, the cup for the time being anyway.
Oh, Lord.
And we just,
see,
here we go. I'm here trying to be nice since I like gave you all this shade earlier, and like you're just like dishing it back. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. The red was for a purpose.
I just don't understand it, Kales. Let's go to the audience. Sam Cafe says you don't need towers of scaffolding to have cup match. Take your pop-ups right there with Sherry. Yes, but here's the challenge, right? I'm a child of Eastern County. I remember going to St. David's when only St. David's hosted it at one point over a decade or so. What I think we have to keep into consideration is more people attend cup match these days, and St. George's, which I love, right, does not have the space that a St. David's Cricket Club or a White Hill has. Right. So in terms of saying, like, I think Jackie says it here, is it would be like Connie game. No, it's more challenging. I mean, yes, Baylor's Bay is a smaller field, but let's be honest, as much as I love Connie game, it does not attract the amount of people that cup match does, right? So I think there's challenges with no scaffolding taking place. And with the clubs, right? The clubs have to ask themselves, is it going to be worth it in terms of financially? Now, I'm looking at it. One more thing, point is, I'm looking at it. Well, at the end of the day, yes, cup match is about enjoying it, going from camp to camp, communicating and enjoying Bermudians as well. However, I'm actually concerned about the state of the cricket game that will take place. I think, Sherry, you wanted to mention that, they haven't even been playing. Like, the cricket season would have been in swing by now. Now we're talking what? Cup match would be 8-7 weeks away at this point. So I this may be upset people, but here's my honest opinion on cup match this year. You know what? Scratch it. And I'm speaking not just about the scaffolding and all that. I'm talking about the quality of the cricket game.
Yeah.
I think that we can still celebrate what the holidays have been renamed for, which is Emancipation Day and Mary Prince Day. We can still have celebrations around it, but I truly believe that, you know what, at the end of the day, we should say, you know what, this is another rest year. We return next year and go from there. That would be my opinion on it.
Yeah, I think that the only way for it to, if people do want it, like if the clubs feel that it's going to be financially viable, like just say you charge, I don't know, $500,000 for your little spot to do your pop-up. Everybody has to do liquor orders. Like, if it's financially viable, then fine. But when we talk about the game, I feel like the only way it's actually going to work is if it's more of a friendly, because let's be real, and people probably going to be irritated, but I really don't care. a lot of our cricket players are not fit people. Okay, they're just not. They're not. They're not. So they haven't been training. Cricket
No.
season would have started in April. They haven't been training. They're probably unfit. So, I mean, they're unfit regularly anyway. So 2 days in the sun at the end of July, I'm being real. They are. It is what it is.
Michaela is like, where is my hat? Because the shade is so real. But at the same token, do I really want scaffolding thrown up, at a whim in a short period of time? And, like you said, let's restart at, on the best end of the island, which is Somerset. It's the best field to do it. And we have more space. Sigh if you want, Michaela. Sigh.
Let me give you a low one, okay? So I'm in a camp in Somerset with a whole bunch of Somerset people. I am literally the lone St. Georgian in the camp. And I love that camp. Like, I love it. And if any of my people who are in the camp are watching, they know, like, the camp is lit. We have a great time. So I'm not opposed to waiting for 2022 and doing it right, because I love Cup Match. And if it's not going to be how I want it to be, then I'm kind of just like, eh.
Well, let's go to the audience.
We can agree.
Guys, have a lot of comments coming from the audience. Michelle White says, I was going to agree with the streaming idea, but she threw up in Somerset having the cup idea. That not need scaffolding, no matter how cup match takes place. Yeah, she just did a good thing. Shanette Bell says, players have just started to train. They will not be up to par, in my opinion.
No.
Selena M. Simon, Sherry.
The state of players and the most important thing, forget it and don't risk interfering with the record books with nonsense. And she is a true Somerset fan. Let me let you know. Yes, that is Mrs. Somerset right there.
This is fun. Okay, maybe it should be a friendly mix of past and present players. Like, I would watch that. So Clevie Wade is my uncle. So I come from cricket blood. And I would love to see Uncle Clevie back on the pitch. Like, let's bring Charlie Marshall. Like, let's go, Herbie, where you at? Let's go. Like, I would love that. Honestly, it would be fun. I would go to that.
Well, let's bring Lee
that's a good idea.
It looks like a lot of people agreeing with Michaela's assessment of the state. And let me just add to that, because I don't want, look, to me, it's just not, Michaela said nothing untrue. And let me just say, before we bring Leanna in, these are conversations we need to be honest. We understand that Bermuda is amateur sport. We get that, right? But there are some places where, you just don't see even amateur athletes, drinking right after a game, or even sometimes during a game. Like, there's nothing about what that's untrue. I know it may make people feel uncomfortable, but I mean, I'm glad that we have her to take some of the heat off, who. But let's bring Lee into the conversation. Despite Leanna's wall, folks, despite the red in her wall, she does have sense enough to choose the right color.
Yes, her wall's actually salmon. It's just how it's showing up on the show.
Thank you, Michaela. Thank you, because I was just about to say, please don't disrespect me like that. I am a St. George's fan, and this is salmon.
My apologies.
But
my apologies. I am a bit colorblind, folks, so don't mind me. But so what are your thoughts, Lee? Is St. George's going to have the opportunity to get our cup back this year, or is Shara's hope of no cup match going to happen?
I honestly, I would love to see cup match go ahead. I mean, we see it around the world that, if our players aren't up to standard, everywhere else around the world, they actually have friendlies, tournaments, and they have friendly cups and whatnot. So just make this about fun and about getting the community back together. Like, I understand, yes, it's going to look a little different. I'm with Kayla. I don't know cup match without scaffolding. I'm too young for that. However, I'm not opposed to seeing what that looked like, allow the older generation to actually, take a trip down memory lane in a sense.
That would be cool.
And see and get a chance to experience that again.
Yeah. I mean, all good points. It'll be interesting. We are about 7 weeks away, so either way, we'll find out, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it much more leading up to that. All right, it's news break time, Lee. So over to you, and don't forget, after the news break, we'll have Dr. Ramon Arscott on, educating us about the vaccine. Really looking forward to the conversation. He gave an amazing presentation, folks. If you haven't seen it, honestly, like that presentation was everything that we've been speaking about needs to happen. So a wealth of information, a good person. And so stick with us after the news break, and we'll be right back.
Thanks, Jamal, Michaela, and of course, welcome Sherry. TGIF to everyone. We hope you all are having a great start to your day, and we're looking forward to the upcoming weekend. Of course, I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break. So here's what's going on in today's top stories. A letter has surfaced from the executive board of the World Freedom Alliance organization to Premier David Burke, informing the government of a liability notice. Now, according to the letter obtained by TNN News, writers have informed Premier Burke and the government that they do not see any evidence to support the COVID-19 virus as a medical emergency, and that preventing sick persons from receiving treatment for it unintentionally causes harm. Now, when effective treatments against the virus become available, the letter read, there is no need for any lockdown measures such as mask wearing, quarantining, and vaccines. Now, the letter proceeded to ask Premier actually validated that COVID-19 has been isolated and that the vast majority, if not all, the writers then encouraged civil lawsuits to commence immediately for damages caused by coerced or forced the virus vaccinations or injections, and calls to immediately stop or accept full liability for negligence, harm, and or injury caused to any man or woman as a result of receiving the vaccine. A failure, they say, to provide this information or respond to the letter by May 25th, it said, will be considered as the government's first fault and acknowledgement that their contribution to the vaccine program makes them okay with having willingly caused harm to their citizens. The letter goes on to say that it is supported by the World Freedom Alliance, the World Doctors Alliance, the International Tribunal for Natural Justice, and Solutions Empowerment. Meanwhile, it isn't the first time we've heard of it, and probably won't be the last either. However, an Irish subsidiary of Microsoft has become the latest to make the news after it was reported that the company made a profit of $315 billion last year. Not too common, but what is that the company paid no corporation tax, as it is a resident for tax purposes in Bermuda. Now, the profit generated by Microsoft around Island One is equally to nearly 3/4 of Ireland's gross domestic product, even though the company has no employees other than 3 directors. According to an article in UK-based newspaper The Guardian, quote, the revelation of how much money Microsoft has saved by routing via Ireland comes as finance ministers attempt to hammer out an agreement to tackle multinational tax avoidance in London today ahead of the G7 meeting in Cornwall this month, end quote. Now, there are increasing calls for a minimum global corporation tax rate. The US has proposed a minimal level of 15%, and that principle of the global corporate tax rate is expected to be endorsed at the G7 gathering from June 11th to June 13th. Politicians on both sides of the Irish Sea attacked Microsoft for unshamedly, and blatantly refusing to pay tax, and said that the case highlighted why urgent, coordinated international action was needed. But in the tax statement, the company says that it is a tax resident in Bermuda and no tax is chargeable on income. A Microsoft spokesperson quoted that the company was fully compliant with all local laws and regulations in the countries where it operates. And a high-speed chase ended in the arrest of 2 teenage girls after they failed to stop at a red light on Front Street on Wednesday night. Police say that the 2 women, an 18-year-old Smiths woman and a 19-year-old Devonshire woman, were traveling on a motorcycle along Front Street just after 9 that evening when they ran a light at the junction of Front and Burnaby Street. Now, apparently, despite using the police vehicle's lights and sirens, the rider led the police on a pursuit which ended in Pembroke area where both women were detained. Now, it is said that the motorcycle was later confirmed to be stolen and impounded by police. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high of 70 and a low near 74 degrees. There is plenty sunshine for you on this beautiful Friday with a bit more cloud in the afternoon. That's all for today's Daily Hour news break. Let's head back over with Jamal, Michaela, and Sherry in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
Did I hear you say two, and this is not to sound sexist, let me put that. Did you say two ladies did a high-speed chase?
That is correct. Wow. Two teenage girls.
All right.
Wow.
On that note, Deanna, thank you so much.
Times have changed now. Don't be sexist. Times have changed. All right.
Thank you for that, Lee. Have a great weekend. And yeah, I'm so sorry that caught my attention. I may have read something. My apologies. Lee, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much.
You guys as well. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye. Bye.
Wow. Maybe Dr. Arscott can let us know what's happening in the human brains that's leading to certain things like this. And we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with Dr. Ramon Arscott. Ladies, high-speed chases just don't seem lady. I don't know. We'll be right back.
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
We're welcoming back the often featured Whole Food veterans Bragg Live Food Products, renowned for their live probiotic organic raw cider vinegar and savory seasonings. Paul Bragg is the man behind the products that has originated health food stores, restaurants, and spas, and promoted nutrition education through the media, helping lay the foundation for the enlightened way we make healthful choices when we shop for and prepare food. This month we're featuring Bragg Organic Raw and Unfiltered Apple Cider Vinegar and Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All right. Jamal, you all right over there?
Oh, I was frozen? Was I frozen?
You were mute, frozen.
Oh,
Thought you were meditating, like getting my right.
I must be intimidated for the upcoming conversation, but welcome back to the big show. Michaela Ian, Sherry Vanderpool, myself, Jamal Hartman. Thanks again to Medical House Windows, One Communications, our friends over at Channel 82, who help us stream this show and many other locally produced shows. Without further ado, let's bring our guest for the day, Dr. Ramon Arscott. Again, folks, if you have any questions, we'll try to get to as many questions as possible, so bear with us. Dr. Arscott, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you. But
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Let me say this.
Good morning.
After that presentation you gave with the likes of, I think, the epidemiologist, Iwanda Rosa, I think Dr. Karika Weldon, I don't remember all the names, but when you did that, when I say our email was blowing up, get Dr. Arscott on. Doctor, I have questions too. And so you're in high demand. You're in high demand. And I'm sure that we'll have a lot of questions for you today. But before we get started, just give the audience, for those who don't know you or who haven't watched the presentation, just tell them a bit about your background so they get an understanding of who you are and why you speak on vaccine education.
Great. Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me. You have an amazing team here. To Michaela, Boston, that's where I came from. So,
yes.
And for all the cup match fever, I live in a frustrated household because my wife is from Somerset, but we live in St. George's. So, that aside, I tell everyone in Bermuda, since I moved here 2.5 years ago, that my number one qualification is that I'm an SOB, which is a spouse of a Bermudian. but my day job is I'm a plastic and reconstructive surgeon. But before I did that, I went to University of Oxford in the UK, where I did a PhD in immunology on the Rhodes Scholarship. And I was looking at vaccine strategies, how to boost the immune system's response, first to H1N1 model virus, and then to cancer, to melanoma. And that was what my PhD was on. And there I met my wife, who's Bermudian. She was also on the scholarship. And then after that, we moved to Boston. I'm terribly sorry. That is my father. And I'm terribly sorry. And moved to Boston, where I did my general surgery training. And at Harvard, I did my general surgery training at the Brigham and Women's Hospital, and then I stayed at Harvard to do plastic surgery. And halfway through that, my wife's like, "Look, I really want to go home." And I said, "Okay, let's work on this. Let's see how we can do that." And in 2018, we moved back to Bermuda with our 1-year-old son at the time, and now we call this place home. And so I come to you today to talk about vaccines with my immunology hat, with my PhD hat in immunology, not my plastic surgeon's hat. And so with that, I've been given these educational talks from as far as West Africa, Ghana, Benin, Togo.
Wow.
I've done it in New York. I've done tons. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm terribly sorry.
He's proud of you. He just wants to be in the show with you.
Yeah, I know. I speak to him every morning. And in New York, Jamaica, done it as far as Canada. So, but the most important and meaningful in many instances have been the ones I've done in Bermuda, and because here's where we call home. So most recently, yesterday, I did the staff at the Hamilton Princess. The day before, I did the rest homes, long-term care facilities. The last week or the week before, I did Westgate, all the inmates and staff there. And I must tell you, the inmates at that Westgate conversation was over 2 hours. They had some of the most insightful questions, and it was a really, really powerful experience, not just for them, but for me. So we're trying to do our best to provide as much education as possible, so that people can feel empowered to make the best decision for them. And so, we have one more Mythbusters in the works. Dr. Ayo, the CMO, Dr. Krika Weldon, who's working tirelessly. And as Jamala said, Daiwan and the crew. But anyway, I'll leave it there. For those who haven't seen the vaccine Mythbuster, or the talk that Jamal's referring to, just YouTube my name. Or it's 17 minutes long. We don't have enough time here for me to go into all of it.
Right.
But if you look at it, it's a good platform to start from. And reach out to me anytime to with any questions at all. Anyway, I'll leave it to you.
Well, Dr. Arscott, tell us, how did you come up with such engaging way to explain the process of COVID and the vaccination? When I watched it, I was like, oh, yeah, you drew me right in. Green hat, general, lieutenant.
Yes.
It made sense. And I even went back and watched again. I was like, oh my goodness, this is, Mythbusters. It's COVID vaccination process for dummies, right?
Right. Well, when I went over, I first did to Oxford. I first did a master's in integrated immunology, and I had to say, look, why did I do immunology? Because at that time I was like, well, am I going to be a physician, an internal medicine guy, a surgeon? What? And I wasn't sure. I said, but immunology touched everything, and so I was like, let me go and study immunology, because infectious disease, cancer, autoimmune disease, everything, no matter which way I was going, I knew it was going to be applicable. And during that time, I had to say, how do I look at this thing for it to make sense? And I can't remember the date. I can't remember if it was the middle of the night. But when I realized that this thing is literally our army and that it literally functions the way I described it, where you've got the general, you got the investigators, you got the snipers, you got the police with the handcuffs, and it then all came together. And I can use this as a platform to talk to the biggest scientists in the world. Like I was on a conference call on Monday with a company in Switzerland talking about new ways to do these vaccines. And it was a basis. They're like, hey, saw your video. It's great, right? Or I could be talking to people who aren't in medicine at all. Like my talks this week, and it works. And so I found it, I don't know when it came to me, but it's been a good vehicle to get it across.
Indeed.
Definitely been a good vehicle. During this day and age, do you believe that the immune system is enough for us to get through this infection with COVID?
Great question. So the immune system has like two main arms of the army. You have those guys on the front line who will, like little privates, the guys they send out first. They call it the innate immune system. And then you got the special forces behind them called the adaptive immune system. And the adaptive one is the one I was talking about, that, okay, I'm going to see this guy, then I'm going to create a police force with handcuffs, i.e. antibodies against this guy, and I'm going to create a SWAT. That's the adaptive response, because they have to adapt to the enemy, and it takes 2 weeks to form this adaptive force. In the meantime, the little privates on the front line are there. They call it the innate immune system, the neutrophils, the macrophages, etc. These little guys on the front line have to deal with the problem in those first 2 weeks. Problem is, there are some enemies that those little guys can't tackle, and those are the enemies, or can't overcome all the time, where some of us are going to succumb and some of us are going to get really sick. Those are the enemies we need the special forces for, and those are the enemies that we vaccinate against. So when I ask you to eat well, take all your, exercise, be healthy, yes, we're helping all of the guys, the innate frontline privates, what they call the neutrophils, the innate system, but also strengthening the adaptive guys to respond. But I don't vaccinate you against every bacteria and virus, only the ones that could cause harm, like serious harm. And so it's not a replacement for being healthy. I hate the thing where it's either or. I never call it an alternative. It complements it. Everyone, you have to be healthy. Yes. You have to eat well. You have to run. Don't smoke. I'm not saying the vaccine's replacing that. I'm saying absolutely, I'm all in on that. But I want to give you that special team that if you run into the real thing, you don't have to depend on the privates alone. You got the special forces at the door to cuff him and shoot him before he can cause harm.
Yes, no, I love that. I love that analogy. It just makes so much sense, and it makes it easy for like us normal non-medical people to understand it. So tell me, like, if your best friend was on the fence about getting vaccinated, what would you say to him or her to convince them to get the vaccine to protect themselves?
All right, so first of all, because I know you crunch for time, but first I'm like, yeah, my 15, 17 minute, 20 minute presentation, it's great baseline, but I find just as meaningful to sit down with them for an hour or 2 hours to hear what their concerns are. Okay. So there's the packaged response, but then different people have different reasons why they don't want to take the vaccine. Right. And many of them, if not all, come from a good place. I understand where they come from, right? But being able to hear what their concerns are, like yesterday when I was doing the staff at the Princess, I was like, listen, I want you to ask, what is your concern, right? So that I can dispel that concern or address those concerns. So the stock response would be, that 15-minute presentation where I'm like, look, it's safe, right? It's not. I'm not giving you the virus. I'm not, right? The measles, mumps, rubella, polio. What did they do to give your immune system a heads up to create this force? They look at the virus as a gunman. They took away his gun and they gave you the live gunman. And say, okay, I've got this weak gunman, so I have 2 weeks to form the special forces, kill him. And then if I run into the real thing, I got these special forces now. That's not the COVID vaccine. The flu shot is the dead gunman. They took the virus, killed him, and then gave that to you. And then, okay, learn what that guy looks like. Right. Against that guy. So if you run into the live guy, you kill him. That's not what the COVID vaccine is. I tell them we've tried to get it safer. We don't give you the virus, neither live nor dead. We're just giving you his hat. It's a little piece of him. It's just a protein. The protein can't hurt you. So one, it's safe. That's for you. Two, if you do catch it and say, you know what, I'm going to get the vaccine. I'm going to catch it. I'm going to let my immune system deal with it, because 97% of people will get over it initially, won't die. I was like, that's a false measure, because why? There's a huge amount of data coming out about the long haulers. It's affecting the heart, the brain, the kidney, the lungs. You're starting to see more sickness and mortality later on. That's two. Even more importantly, though, if you don't get the vaccine, you get over it. What have you allowed this virus to do when you caught it? When viruses get inside anyone, they multiply, they change. And when they change, it's random. They might just change their coat. Sometimes they pick up a bigger gun, they become more deadly. But if they change their hat, the vaccines aren't geared against anything but the green hat. And now we're all back to square one. So you've made yourself the vessel to create a new monster.
Right.
And if you've done that, you've not just said, okay, I got over it, but you've now potentially put everyone else, including the vaccinated and the whole world, back to square one in danger. So I close with saying, listen, when we stop people for speeding, we're not locking them up because they're about to kill themselves. It's because they're a danger to others. These two girls on the highways, whatever, speed chase yesterday or whenever it was, go after them. It's because they're a danger to others, right? So when people say it's my right to take the vaccine or not, okay, but is it your right to put others in danger?
Yes, exactly.
So that's the debate now. It's like, okay, how much right do you have to, okay, you go catch it, you create a new monster, and now you make me more susceptible to be killed because you made a dangerous monster, or a purple hat that the vaccine's not against. And now we're back to, the whole world's back to square one.
Right.
So there's so many answers, and I can give you more stock reasons.
Right.
The reason I wear a mask now while vaccinated is because there's so many people out there not vaccinated that I'm not protected against a purple hat, a new mutation.
Right.
And until it gets to a point where, okay, the chance of that happening is so low, the vaccinated ones are wearing masks as well.
Right.
Can I jump in real quickly? Because as you can probably see by my face, I'm concentrating so much and trying to really listen. I'm not a quick learner. But you said something that I really hope that, if nothing else, people take this away from what you've said today. And it's this. Just last week, I had a relative of mine call me and let me know that another relative had contracted COVID. And while they're not in the hospital anymore and they're doing, they're out, their life will never be the same. They now may need assistance walking. They're weaker. And what you just stated is, we have heard many people in different spaces say, oh, it's only such and such percent that have died from it. The survival rate is 97, 98%. We've heard that. But what really brought it to my attention was, I want to say it was late last year or early this year, a basketball player at one of the Florida universities collapsed on the court. And it was stated that he had a heart condition, which they related to contracting COVID earlier. That's what I remember from the story. I haven't followed up since. But what the reason I really want to highlight that point, Dr. Arscott, is, I was very honest about my position. I'm not here to convince people either way or whatnot. People know what I am, where I stand. But I just want people to be a bit more accurate when speaking of it. And just because there's a survival rate, the quality of life is what we haven't been discussing enough. So I'm sorry to interrupt there, Michaela, but I just wanted to like people to focus on that, because I'm just like, it's not necessarily life and death; it's quality of life as well, folks.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Absolutely. So as I said, I could, list off different reasons, and different reasons will resonate with different people. Okay, they're like, oh yeah, well, you survive, and so quality of life. For instance, children, they're like, oh, their immune system is super strong. The likelihood of them dying is much lower. So why are we, even worried about the kids? And I'm like, listen, their quality of life may change. There's something called multi-system inflammatory syndrome in kids who caught COVID. 3,742 have had it now in the States. 35 have died.
Wow.
From COVID. Kids. Okay? The average age is 9. Okay? So there's the effect on the children. Then you said, okay, but all right, they get over it. Well, no, the children are now those little vessels in which you could create the new monster that the whole everyone else is affected.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's then that. And then then there's the logistics. My God, they're not back in school. How do we get them back to school? That is a catastrophe in itself.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're like, we want to do everything to get them back in school. And then about a couple of weeks ago, I remember listening to the press conference, I think it's Earl, taking the premier to task about Carifta. Everybody's. I tried to run at Carifta. Okay, everybody's looking forward to this thing. Why was it a problem? Because if they're not vaccinated, they had to quarantine these people for 2 weeks. Because if they brought in a purple hat, then or a more dangerous virus, then the whole country is back to square one. So you're like, okay, if it's only to try and bring life back, Carifta back, just being able to go to school. Some schools won't even allow, Brown University won't allow kids to come back to school unless they're vaccinated.
Yeah.
So you can decide not to get it, but you're risking long-term sickness. You're risking you creating a monster for the rest of the country. You are now limiting your options of going, not just within Bermuda, but even sending your kids to certain schools. Right? And then you're not, so the ramifications are far reaching. And I'm not trying to force people one way or another. But there's several things that will resonate with different people. Anyway, I'll leave that there for the next.
I love how you talk about creating a new monster. And that's the thing that really stuck out for me, because it's people who are just like, oh, I'm not getting vaccinated, I'll be fine, my immune system is fine. And I'm just like, full disclosure, I'm fully immunized, right? So for me, it's just like, we have to look out for our fellow people. We have to look out for our children, our older family members. And so deciding not to do something that can protect not only yourself, but other people, I just feel like, why are we even doing that? Why are we making a decision that could ruin everything when we have a simple solution here? But that's just my 2 cents on it. So I just want to know, Dr. Arscott, what's your hope for Bermuda as we get closer to life pre-COVID?
Crown and anchor table, shoulder to shoulder. Okay?
Where is the crown and anchor table? Real important. But anyway, go ahead.
As you probably know, I've spent a third of my life in the UK, a third in the US, but I was born in Jamaica, right? And in Jamaica, track and field is almost like a religion, right? And you can tell by we're in Olympics. So I ran this high school championship. It's the largest high school championship in the world in terms of athletics. And that's our cup match, okay? We're talking 40,000 people in a stadium.
Wow.
And for me to get from this school to that school, I'm climbing over people. So it was second nature to climb from camp to camp at cup match, because I've been going around stadiums. That's just my example of normalcy. Being back to where we were.
Yeah.
Okay? That's my hope. What is this whole 70% thing? It's just a mathematical model that said, okay, if we get 70% of the population vaccinated, 7 out of 10 people this virus runs into, he's cuffed and shot.
Yeah.
It's a dead end. There's so few people left that it peters out. Okay. So that's where we are. We're about 52% now. Okay. Now, why do I feel the pressure right now to be talking to rest homes last night or the night before, and all these on the program now? Like when I said to my practice manager, I was like, look, do not cancel this BCG interview, because I really want to be on there. I don't care what else is going on. Puts the patients back. It's because Bermuda has had the vaccines since early January. Right? January 8th, it landed here. I got my first shot the first day. January 11th, I was like, give me the hat. Give me the hat. Next week, is the last day you could get the vaccine before it expires. Expires. I was speaking to, expires on June 30th, but you have to get your first shot to be able to get the next shot.
Right.
You need to get the first shot by June 8th. You imagine, 2-3 weeks ago, we had 9,000 vaccines about to expire. And we can't give it away because they have to be kept at certain temperatures. They can only be moved 4 times, and Bermuda was the 4th move.
Wow.
I've given this talk so many other countries. People are dying.
Yep.
And just begging for this vaccine. And we then allow thousands to expire. If we then turn and say, hey, can I get some more? What leg do I have to stand on?
Yeah.
Give you thousands of vaccines. You sat on them for 6 months, allow them to expire. Now you want more.
That's exactly what I've been saying for the past couple of weeks. It's like, it's fine if you don't want to get vaccinated, if that's your choice. But then a month from now, 2 months from now, if you suddenly decide you need to get it, it might not happen because is the UK actually going to give us more? If we wasted them, probably not.
Well, I want to get to, we have a lot of questions. We're out of time, but I want to get to the audience. Sean Smith has a question. How come governments do not talk about the people who have lost lives to the vaccine? I personally lost a family member to the vaccine. Can you really touch on, because we speak about numbers in terms of people dying from COVID, right? What are the numbers where people have been impacted or died from any of the vaccines?
So I'd love to. First of all, sorry for your loss, Sean. I think it's Sean Smith. I'm not sure where you are in the world and if you're in Bermuda or not. It's always tragic when we lose a family member, regardless of cause. No, I would love to, I would want to, before I comment on whether it was the vaccine or not, I'd love to understand the circumstances. Right? For instance, the clots, right? The number one cause of deaths that we've seen have been this so-called clotting thing, okay? And they first flagged it mid-March and say, is there a link between the vaccines? Because they're getting these clots in the, certain parts of the liver and the brain and all over. And there's these rare clots. And they said, is it the vaccine that's doing it or not? And the reason that they took until April 8th, literally 8 weeks ago, before they said, well, there may be a link, is because the virus causes the same clots. Okay? So the link was, if the vaccine was causing these clots, the link, you asked for numbers, the incidence was 1 in 250,000. So that's 4 in a million. Okay? 4 in a million of incidence of the clots. When they look at the virus, if you caught it, there is a 1 in 12 chance of you getting a clot in the lung. 1 in 9 in the leg. Not 1 in 250,000, right? So which is why they said, benefits far outweigh the risk. If I had to play the numbers game, 4 in a million, 1 in 9.
Yeah.
Okay? So that now we're talking about numbers. To give you that in some form of context, if you take the oral contraceptive pill, your chance of getting a clot is 1 in 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay. No one's knocking down the FDA's door to take the pill off the market.
Exactly.
Okay. But they're scrutinizing this because we want to be safe.
Right.
So that is the numbers we're looking at. And I'm not saying 4 in a million died. I'm saying 4 million got the clot. And then a few tens of, maybe I think 39 in Canada, and then a certain amount in the UK. I can't give you the exact number of how many have died from it, but we're talking those kind of numbers.
Right.
Okay? And when I looked at the last data, about 171 million people worldwide caught it, of which 3.7 million have died. Million from the virus. And so, now we're talking about, no one's saying anything is risk-free, but if you want to play the numbers game, they're not even in the same ballpark.
Dr. Arscott, we're out of time, but I just want to get to one more question. It looks like Ardette Hartman is there any way the 12 to 15-year-olds can get the vaccine?
Oh, that's a great question. No, because this is something that's been near to my heart. I'm a father. Okay, I have kids. I have a child. And Pfizer said yes, but we're trying to go through the backroom logistics of getting these vaccines that were given to Bermuda, were given with an MOU saying you can give this to so-and-so, okay, 16 and above. And so now we're trying to get them to say, okay, it's okay to give to 12, 15 years. One, because we have, I think it was 800 parents calling so far saying we want to give our kids, calling the ministry. So the demand is there. But two, you have these that are about to expire. Right? So I'm like, man, we're up against the clock here.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of certain logistics, and I know the CMO, Dr. Ayo, is working hard on this. I know the government's working hard on this. I can't promise when it's going to happen, but yes, scientifically, the data is sound. It is safe. It is 100% efficacious. The children actually have twice as many neutralizing antibodies when they get it, i.e., handcuffs and snipers, than we do. So it's even better in general.
Wow.
So it's a win-win-win. It's just a matter of getting the authorization to do it from the UK government, etc., which they're working on.
Indeed.
So I can't comment further on that. I'll leave with two more quick lines. I know you're out of time. For those afraid of, because I hear these all the time, fertility doesn't affect fertility. It actually protects the mother, protects the child.
Yeah.
You can't shed the protein. People used to shed live viruses when they used to give you the live virus back in the day. We don't give you that. It's more protective. You're less likely to be admitted to hospital if you're pregnant and caught the virus but vaccinated, 1.4 times less likely. And the babies are being born with the handcuffs in them. The baby who can't get a vaccine right now is protected. So there's so many reasons why to get it. So but I'll leave it there because I know you're out of time. Please reach out.
We've got to have you back. The audience has for it already. So let's thank you for today. We'll be in touch immediately following this show to do a follow-up conversation because there's definitely a lot more to discuss. Thank you so much. Appreciate what you've been able to share. And sir, we're happy that you will be wearing St. George's colors the next time you come on.
Dr. Arscott, no, listen.
Sorry, you're outnumbered, boo.
No, I'm not.
Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thank you for everything you're doing as well as a team. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Dr. Ramon Arscott, we'll be right back. If you enjoyed that conversation, appreciate the conversation, don't forget, give us a thumbs up, love us, like us, show some love for Dr. Arscott. We're going to come right back. Daily Play, it's The Feud. We have a giveaway today, and Michaela's going to give us some daily inspiration. Sherry, let's hold on to some good vibes for next week. How's that?
Okay.
All right. That's what we'll do. You Somerset fans. We'll be right back.
Tune in to the Full 100 Radio every Tuesday through Sunday at 7 p.m. Bermuda time as we bring you the love, romance, sexiness with nighttime jams. Only on your station for conversations and entertainment. The Full 100 Radio. Download the app available for Android and Apple devices.
All right. Thanks again to Dr. Ramon Arscott. A lot more to discuss, so we definitely hope to have him back. Thanks again to One Communications, Linda's Medical House, and everyone who continues to support the show, especially the audience. Here we go. The Feud. Number one answers only. Here's the first question. How appropriate. Tell me something people in Florida do a lot more than people in Minnesota.
Go to the beach.
Wow. You're really good at this.
All right.
Number one, there were 7 answers. Go to the beach was number 1. Swim, surf was number 2. Fresh oranges, number 3. Number 4 was go fishing. Sweat was number 5. Bathing suit, number 6. Summer clothes, 7. Golfing, 8. But wow, you are good.
Well, I was at orange juice. I was like, drink orange juice.
See, you see what the Somerset fan is at number 3 and the St. George's fan is at number 1.
Shit. 2 more to go. 2 more to go. Here we go. Name something that would make you work harder for your boss.
Bonus?
Money.
Yeah, a raise. That's pretty much it. Number 1. So, yep, a raise. Appreciation number 2. Nice boss number 3. Promotion number 4. Here's the final one. Here we go. Help them out, folks. They're getting it all before you all. Oh my, you really said vote for Trump. That is hilarious.
Oh dear Lord.
That's
yeah.
Here's the final one. This is a really sappy one. What's the last thing you say to your children before they go to sleep?
I love you. Sweet dreams.
What'd you say? The first one?
I said I love.
Yeah, I love you. Both of you got it. Yeah, that was too easy, right? Either these have getting easier or you guys are really good. But number 1 answer was I love you. Number 2 was good night. Number 3, prayer. Number 4, God bless you. Number 5 was don't let bed bugs bite you. Look, folks, audience, they're really good at this game, so they don't even give you a chance to get it. Like, y'all got your work cut out for you. Everyone seems like I love you. While Michaela gives us the daily inspiration, I'm going to give you the hashtag. The hashtag to win today's prize is full stop. All right, folks? Hashtag full stop. Yep, we're going to do the Rusty G. So hashtag full stop. That is to win today's prize. I will actually, let's see. Let's pull it in here because I hope everyone can spell full stop. Full stop. Hashtag full stop for your chance to win. Kales, what you got for inspiration for us?
Yes. Today's inspiration comes from C.S. Lewis. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream.
I like that one.
Oh, I like that, especially with St. George's. Dream a new dream.
Oh, Lord, sis. No.
The disrespect is just on some levels.
I like you. All right, Sherry.
And we 6 to 8 weeks away or whatever it is, and we're starting now. The banter is real.
Well, I'll say this much. I mean, the only way that Cup stay in Somerset is if
Lord.
I'm going to say it now. But we've had an awesome week. Honestly, this is the first week with Michaela. It's been a pleasure. Sherry, the energy you brought today, you guys, it's just been phenomenal.
Yes.
Thank you. We have another big week coming up next week. Lloyd Holder coming on. He has a new company, and we're going to be talking about relocating to Bermuda. I know a lot of people probably don't like the idea of people relocating, but what it means for Bermudians and the economy. We also have the governor coming by, Bermuda's first Black governor. So a lot going on next week. Thanks again to everyone who came on this week. Definitely full stop. We obviously have the hashtag. Maybe we should go and see. Oh, wow. 38. No, it's over 100 people tuned in right now, at least on social media. Let's get it up. 38 people so far. Let's share the screen so they can see. They want to make sure that the Somerset person isn't cheating them to make sure someone.
Hello. You know, they like to do that.
All right, let's hit the draw. Let's see. Let's see who you got. It's going.
Come on. Big money.
Here we got. Linda Tucker. All right. So Linda Tucker is today's winner. She'll join the club before Leanna. I said before Leanna. Check that. Any final words on today's show, Sherry?
Just enjoy the tradition wherever it may be. That's all we can, Comp Match is all about, togetherness and our traditions. If we have to make some new ones, then hey, so be it. And if you haven't been vaccinated or don't want to get vaccinated, just get the information and not listen to the misinformation. Check out Dr. Arscott. The way that he explains it will help you make an informed decision.
Indeed. Kales?
Yeah, go get your vaccine. Like, if you know you want to do it, I'm gonna just be straight. Go get it. There's 4 more days after June 8th. It's not going to be available to you, and then you'll probably regret it, especially when airlines start to make vaccinated travel mandatory because it's coming.
Well, I'll say this much: as far as Cup Match, as I just stated, the only way Somerset's keeping that cup is if Cup Match doesn't happen. So I'll leave it at that. As far as Dr. Arscott, honestly, appreciate the information. You all know me. I've been back there. I'm not neither here or there about convincing others. I'm not an expert, but I'm going to listen to the experts. And so I would encourage people to just do what they feel is in the best interest of not just themselves, but their loved ones, right? It's I'm not here to argue with you or convince you. Just use the information that's put before. On that note, Linda Tucker and everyone who's been a winner, just don't forget to send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com so that we can get you your prize winnings. On that note, we hate this part of the show, but thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, and Lindos, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you too. Well, not tomorrow, next week. She's Michaela and she's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamel Hartman. My friends, make it a great weekend and cheers to you.
Cheers.